Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, voice you know with the news you trust studio, sponsored by Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution. I'm Dale Menyo. Well, one day after President Donald Trump signed an executive order freezing all federal regulations pending a 60-day review to include the 45Z Clean Fuels Production Credit from the Inflation Reduction Act, a bipartisan group of senators reintroduced the Farm to Fly Act to accelerate the production of sustainable aviation fuel. A bipartisan group of senators reintroduced the Farm to Fly Act to support sustainable aviation fuel production. Trump's order signed on Monday frees any new rules that have been published in the Federal Register but have not taken effect. That applies to guidance documents, including the Treasury guidance on 45Z. The Farm to Fly Act would clarify eligibility for sustainable aviation fuel in the USDA's current bioenergy programs and would expand markets for crops used to produce SAF. The legislation previously introduced would provide for greater collaboration on aviation biofuels at USDA and would increase partnerships with the private sector, according to a news release from the senators. The bill also affirms a common definition for SAF at USDA that is widely supported by the industry to enable U.S. crops to most effectively contribute to SAF production. The bill was reintroduced by Senator Charles Grassley of Iowa, Jerry Moran, Tammy Duckworth, Pete Ricketts, Amy Klobuchar, and Joni Ernst. Sustainable aviation fuel is a promising alternative fuel source that can provide new markets for farmers while increasing our domestic energy production and security, Moran said in a statement. The legislation has received wide support from agriculture, aviation, and energy interest. Emily Skor, CEO of Growth Energy, said the bill is even more important than it was last Congress, as the rural economy is currently facing a period of significant financial strain. Creating new opportunities to increase farm income must be a priority for the incoming Congress, and this bill would be a great start, Skor said in a statement. Today's weather brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
It does look like the worst of the cold is behind us. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at that Ohio Ag weather update. Even though the worst is behind us, we're not done with cold air yet, so do not take me saying that. What I'm saying is the temperatures today should be just a few ticks above what we saw yesterday, and tomorrow should improve just a little bit more. By the time we get to the end of the week and weekend, trying to get back closer to where we should be this time of year, closer to normal. That still is cold. Remember, it is January. We are going to be dealing with lake effect coming across Michigan over the next 24 to 36 hours. I do not think lake effect is a problem in Ohio, except for extreme northeastern parts of the state today. Slightly better chance at lake effect coming into northern tier counties of the state through the day tomorrow, and clouds all over in Ohio for tomorrow, Thursday. Getting into the weekend, we're fully dry, again with the temperatures cold, but not as cold as the past few days. Next week, temperatures moderate. We take a stab at warming early in the week, taking a pause at Thursday, Friday, and then flipping the calendar into February, well above normal temperatures for the first, second, and third. All of this happening with no precipitation, just different levels of clouds all the way through. So overall, I would call our pattern below normal on precipitation as our temperatures yo-yo, eventually leading to an above normal February. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Joel talks about a roller coaster.
South American agriculture is navigating a roller coaster of weather conditions this season. That's the topic of the latest South American update, brought to you by Seed Genetics Direct, the #1 fastest growing and largest Ohio-based independent seed company. While drought concerns linger in Rio Grande do Sul, Parana, and parts of Mato Grosso do Sul, much of Brazil's soybean crop remains on track with strong yield potential. According to CONAB, Brazil's soybean production estimate was adjusted slightly upward to 166.3 million metric tons, with exports steady at 105.5 million tons. However, only 0.3% of the crop has been harvested so far, compared to this time last year being 1.7%. Rainfall extremes another challenge. Southern regions bracing for replenishing rains expected by month's end, while states like Mato Grosso and more have experienced excessive rainfall delaying harvest activities. In Argentina, the drought has already impacted crop conditions there, with just 32% of soybeans rated good to excellent. Still, South America is projected to achieve a record-breaking 232.2 million metric tons of beans for this season, coming from USDA. Looking ahead, Brazil's second corn crop depends on a timely soybean harvest to meet its ideal planting window. Recent rains, though, have significantly improved soil conditions. Overall, though, South America's production outlook remains optimistic, but weather-dependent. So keep an eye on the markets, as volatility and opportunities are the theme of the season. Find that full South American update online today at ohioagnet.com. Thanks to Seed Genetics Direct. I'm Joel Norwood reporting.
And thanks, Joel. The National Corn Growers Association published its 2025 Corn Competitiveness Report, providing a roadmap for the incoming Trump administration and the new Congress to bolster the economic outlook for farmers and rural America. The report comes as corn growers are forecasted to face a third year of negative returns in 2025. The U.S. is a corn-producing superpower, growing about one-third of the world's corn and doing so more sustainably than anywhere else on Earth, the report noted. But the future of this American-grown powerhouse is in jeopardy as costly and burdensome regulations and outdated, unfavorable policies hinder American corn farmers' market access, resulting in high costs and low market prices. According to the report, the U.S. can turbocharge American competitiveness by focusing on 6 key targets: increasing global market access for U.S. corn, expanding the use of U.S. corn in ethanol, strengthening farm risk management, preserving the American farm family legacy and farmland access, protecting access to agriculture innovations, and strengthening use of U.S. corn in American products. The report provides specific examples of the ways in which the U.S. can achieve these targets. These include developing new foreign markets, passing legislation that will expand consumer access to higher blends of ethanol, ensuring sensible regulations are in place, and extending estate tax exemptions. If the United States is going to build the greatest economy in history, supporting American corn farmers is foundational, the report noted. Corn growers need an environment where they can be innovative, productive, and profitable. The environment which unobstructed access to necessary inputs, management tools, and markets. Also, as we wrap up thinking about President Trump at this point, President Trump issued an executive order declaring a national energy emergency Monday, which noted the administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency, after consultation with and concurrence by the Secretary of Energy, shall consider issuing emergency fuel waivers to allow the year-round sale of E15 gasoline to meet any projected temporary shortfalls in the supply of gasoline across the nation. American Coalition for Ethanol CEO Brian Jennings had this to say about those comments. After years of being uncertain about whether we might secure emergency waivers for E15 in conventional gasoline areas during the summer months, the executive order signals it is likely for 2025 in the event it is needed. Ultimately, we need Congress to update the statute and clarify once and for all that E15 is allowed for nationwide year-round use. This legislation will be our top priority during the 2025 ACE fly-in. Stay tuned, back with more after this.
Hey, pork producers, it's almost time for the 2025 Ohio Pork Congress, your connection to all things pork. It's back in Lima, Ohio on February 4th and 5th. With the latest on swine health, facility management, economics, and product innovation, all within the largest pork industry trade show in the region. So make plans now to join us at Veterans Memorial Convention Center by going to ohioporkcongress.org for more information and early registration discounts on tickets. We'll see you in Lima.
Morton Buildings is holding their annual Building Value Day sales event running now through the end of February. Morton Buildings are built stronger, last longer, and look better. So if you're planning for a garage, farm shop, stall barn, a storage building for your RV, boat, or collectibles, or anything in between, act now and contact one of their 4 Ohio offices by visiting mortonbuildings.com or call 800-447-7436 to take advantage of their current savings on select new buildings. Certain restrictions may apply. This offer is available on select building styles. Contact your local construction center for more details.
Vowing that America's golden age has just begun, President Donald Trump reclaimed the Oval Office with a speech highlighting the failures of his predecessor and pressing to reverse many of the policies of now former President Joe Biden. We jump to the economic numbers. Trump takes office with the unemployment rate at 4.1% nationally, down from 4.7% when he took office in 2017. Trump pointed to record inflation under Biden, though the national inflation rate is 2.9%, but coming down from levels of an annual rate of 7% in 2021, the first year of Biden's term. Inflation under Trump's first term never got higher than 2.3% annually. The agricultural economy is struggling as commodity prices have waned, though corn prices have seen a recent rally. Since Election Day, DTN's National Corn Index has moved from $3.92 a bushel to $4.52 a bushel on Monday. That's the highest price level since December of 2023. Net farm income, according to USDA's most recent forecast, is pegged at just under $141 billion nationally for 2024, down from a record $193 billion in 2022. Crop receipts have fallen $25 billion in the past year, mainly due to lower prices for corn and soybeans. Livestock receipts, however, have risen by $21 billion in the last year. Today's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. For information on how to market soybeans to LDC, call 574-566-2113. With our market analysis, here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished sharply higher on the day, and now there's a lot of excitement as to where these markets want to go from here. I'm not in the excited camp. Look, it was great that we got back to where we are, and we did put in new highs for this move. The highs happened late yesterday afternoon, just ahead of the close. The close was very important to me as we saw all of these markets, corn, beans, and wheat, finish in the top part of the range. That would signal maybe some potential for follow-through over the next day or two. However, longer-term bullish pattern, I just don't see it getting here. The stories of yesterday were multifold. First of all, we've had a two-day sharp fall off in the value of the U.S. dollar. That is something that does help the export channels maybe pick up steam a little bit. We also had a lack of Chinese finger pointing by the incoming administration. That sparked a little bit of a broad buying spree early on. Speculative inflows were the bullish catalyst in the market yesterday, which means there's no fundamental change overall. This was all speculative. 45Z tax credits, that's something else that the market was paying attention to yesterday. No talk on that. Ethanol producers are slowing their runs due to bitter cold. That should ease here just in a little bit. Friday's Board of Trade open interest rose about 50,000 contracts on corn. Beans up about 12,000 contracts. Wheat up 3,200. The corn net long position is approaching 350,000 contracts. That's impressive overall. Brokers estimate that managed money bought 10,200 contracts of wheat yesterday, 6,600 contracts of corn, 10,400 contracts of soybeans. Rumors are flowing now that China is slowing the Brazilian offloading of soybean vessels due to incorrect old crop phytosanitary certificates. I even heard that 5 companies out of Brazil were blacklisted, but I think that gets solved pretty quick as the Brazilian crop gets harvested. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Today's market's brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Overnight at the open, March corn 488 down 2, December new crop down 1.5 pennies at 458 1/4. March soybeans 1063 3/4 down 3.5, November down 5 at 1044 3/4. The July wheat is 579 down 2 3/4, while September's down 3 1/4 at $5.92. February cattle 197.05 up 30 cents. April down 17 at 197.32. February lean hogs up 7 cents at 81.20, while April is down $1.62 at 86.70. March feeder cattle down 80 cents, closing at 267.25. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dale Menyo. This is the Ohio AgNet.